Welcome to Cable 15 TV, Sports Unleashed, an NBS production, Facebook Live. Sports Unleashed every Monday night at 6 p.m. is brought to you by, and in part, by the Jackson's Funeral Home, the 1900 block of Malcolm Avenue. Our family serving your family, the Jackson way. Program also brought to you by the Thompson Wilson Funeral Homes of McCrory and Wynn. Sports Unleashed, the Jackson's Funeral Home. A life well lived is worth remembering. Merchants of Planters Bank, your hometown bank in Newport with 2 locations to serve you. Downtown Newport and Highway 367 North, out on the highway. Member FDIC. Unity Health, Harris Medical Center, Newport, Arkansas. Helping bring you all sports programming, including Sports Unleashed and Greyhound football and basketball. Subway in the Walmart Supercenter, thanks to the Sampson family. Sports Unleashed is also brought to you by Two Chicks Florist and more. They bring you the birthday report each and every Monday night. Flowers, gifts, holiday decorating. We're located at 1014 Malcolm Avenue in Newport. And also the Bank of England Mortgage Company, member FDIC, equal housing lender, Kenny Thaxton and Sally Law. Customized Vision Care in the Newport Village Mall, 523-3333, presents a look back. Program also brought to you by Fathead Pizza Company. That's one word and it's all caps for the best pizza, best salad, best sandwiches in the world. Give them a call at 201-1313. They'll have your order ready. At 512-8429 for Ben Black. You need dirt work, you need gravel work, you need sprinkler system work, you need something done, give Ben Black a call at that number. Like a good neighbor, Andrew Roach is there, State Farm Insurance Agent, 495-2024. Great food, great service, and Mexican food that is second to none at El Puente Mexican Restaurant in Newport. White River Health System and WRMC Medical Complex in Newport. Big sponsor of Greyhound Sports here on Cable Channel 15 TV. And the Delta Manufacturing Company, Delta Trailer Manufacturing since 1971, celebrating 50 years in the business. Delta Trailer Manufacturing. Diaz Scrap Metal, located on Highway 367 north of Newport. If you've got metal to sell, we've got money to pay. Farmers Tire Mart, 1501 Malcolm Avenue, where the rubber meets the road. If you need tires or service work on your automobile, give us a call. Kenny Fletcher Land Surveying, 223rd Street, Newport, 523-5625. And if you need your heating and air conditioning system worked on, Temp Pro, Sam Laster Jr. and John Laster, 827-3213. C&M Ag Depot at 2900 Highway 367 north of Newport, 523-6766, your Carhartt Clothing Company. Sports Unleashed coming your way. Up next, here on Facebook Live, Cable 15 TV. Live. Ben's just working himself to death out at the barn, and boy, I appreciate you showing up on time to try to help us talk a little sports tonight. So what's going on in your world, man?
Not much, man. We're busy. Springtime's here. Everybody needs it, and they need it now. So
they can't wait, can they?
We got to go. But glad to be back, man. Glad you're back on the program with us.
Well,
Hayden Schultz couldn't make it here right now, so just you and me going to fill in for the almighty Hayden, as he likes to say. But I'm glad you're back, man. How you feeling?
Well, I feel better. I've felt worse, but I feel a lot better than I have been in the last week. So We're back on the mend and we're ready to go. We want to talk a little Greyhound sports tonight. We want to talk about a basketball team, Ben. And, one of the things going in to a basketball season is you hope that you can be the conference champion, and then you hope that you could make it to the state tournament. And the Hounds have done that. They have won their district, but they had a great run this past weekend in the regional tournament.
Oh, absolutely. Great run in the regional. We fell a little short from our own personal goals. I think, everybody wanted to win that thing, but, that's part of it. I said this several times on the broadcast, and Coach Black and I talked about this, and he's right. It's hard to beat a good team in any sport 3 times in a year. And that's what we were asked to do, and, we fell a little short. Harding just played better. They had a better game than us that night. And sometimes in sports it happens. You can't win every time, and we were on a 15-game win streak, which is just unbelievable history that has been made on that run, and is still yet to be made with our season. The season's not over because of the regional, but it was a great run. Lost to a good quality Harding basketball team. Conference champs, like I said, 15-game win streak. Just history was made. They're leaving Brandon Gates, number 1, LeVar Neal. Those guys, the whole coaching staff, they're leaving their thumbprint and their mark on history here at Newport.
Well, here's one thing that I take away from the loss to Harding, and we'll get back into talking about the victories too. You played 2 teams, Rivercrest and Osceola, who they kind of like to run it up and down the floor a little bit, and Harding doesn't like to run it at all. But anyway, you lose a ball game by 2 points, and you're disappointed. And I love that. I love the mindset that you can lose by 2 points and have the ball with time enough to shoot at the end of the game to win the game.
Yes.
To win the regional championship. But I do know this. Here's what I want to say. You go into the state tournament on a 16-game winning streak, and let me tell you what it is very difficult to do. It's very, very, very difficult to win 20 in a row. I don't care what sport you're in. It's very difficult to win 20 in a row. And the most amazing thing about it, and I posted this on Facebook, and I will tell our basketball team, if my basketball team were listening, Isaiah has joined, and he's listening. All we have to do right now, we don't have to win 20 in a row. We don't have to win 4 in a row. We got to win 1 in a row.
Yep, and you do it every day.
You got to win 1 game.
Yep, every day. When you go to practice, you practice like today's your last day. This is your last game. We're going to practice like it. When you get to the game, you play this 1 game. What you've been preparing for since you started playing the game. This is the game, and you just have that mindset every game. We're going to perfect this game. We got 1 quarter. There's 8 minutes. Then you do that every quarter. And like you said, you just focus 1 at a time and go from there.
I think the great coaches would tell you that it's so important that you teach your players that every possession can be a game changer.
Yep.
Every possession, because there's 5 or 6 possessions that you look at down, after the ball game's over, and you said, boy, if we'd have made that little basket underneath, or boy, if we'd have hit a free throw at this time, or boy, had we gotten the dunk when the ball, hit the backboard and it didn't go in. But the mindset from a coaching standpoint is let's play to perfection. And it never happens, but that's the goal, to play against perfection with yourselves more so than to play against the opponent that you're playing.
That's exactly right. You're playing against perfection. Both teams are playing against, perfect, like you said, 1,000. And if you can get 90%, anything, that's great. You just want to try to get as close to perfect as you can, and that's about the best way that I know how to put it. But as you said, making those free throws, each possession is so crucial.
Every pass.
The preparation that goes into that, though, we're still practicing. We still have to practice like we're trying to get better. We still have to have the mindset of I can learn something new. I can continue to get better. I can continue to sharpen my craft and get better. And I think that the Hounds have proven that they were willing to put in the work. That's why we've had so much success this year, is because those guys said, hey, Coach Gates, we're with you. We'll put in the work. And that's why we are where we are today in the state tournament, runner-up regional, win our conference for the first time since 1981.
40 years.
40 years. So it's history. And I can assure you, every Greyhound fan around in the world is proud of those guys. And we're looking forward to what's coming, in this state tournament. And we know that we have the right guys in place in the coaching staff. We have tremendous athletes, tremendous depth in our athletes. Every guy on our team can go. He can give something. And then you got to talk about one other thing that you can't, after preparation, is luck. You have to
You
be
gotta have
lucky.
a little luck.
You just gotta be lucky.
You gotta have a
I mean,
little luck.
and who knows where I don't know if you actually call it luck, but it's sheer chance.
No, it's luck. I mean, it by chance or whatever the case may be, is that you just have to have some things fall your way. And just for example, we have 3 out of our 4 teams from our conference, going to the state, and the other conference that was supposed to be so dominant, the conference 3, with Manila, Rivercrest, Osceola, Walnut Ridge. They only got 1 in with Osceola, and let me assure you that Pangburn misses a 3-point shot at the buzzer to beat Osceola, or all 4 of us are going to the state
exactly
tournament.
right.
So one shot away, one shot away. And we're a shot away from winning the whole thing. And that's the thing that you play every possession where you hope it doesn't come down to that, but sometimes it does. And you want to put yourself in a position where you have a chance to win, and that's all you can ask for.
No, yeah.
Did you have a chance to win at the end? And the answer to our question is yes, we
Yes,
did.
we had a chance, and we fell a little short of our personal goal, but there's still, hopefully a lot of season left, and, the ball don't stop. A friend of mine, Price Holmes, I don't care to say, he texted me and said, that they don't give out rings for regional tournaments. They said a few years ago the Lady Pioneers were in a regional final, and they were on a 15, 16, 17, I think, maybe game win streak, and lost the regional final and went into the state and ended up winning a state championship. And it was his opinion that had they not lost that game, there's a good chance they might not have won that state championship game. Because like you said, the odds of you winning 20 in a row, every game they just shrink and shrink
Absolutely.
and shrink and shrink. So, the season's not over. I'm proud of them guys. I think, we're obviously right where we need to be, or else we wouldn't be there.
Well, we've got a basketball team that has lost 4 ball games. We're at 20-4. Some people say we're 17-4, and the record is 20-4 is what we are. And you lose to a Harding team 52-50. We talked about those other 3 losses. We lost at Rosebud when we didn't have a full complement of players. We lost at Pangburn earlier when our football players just got back for it was their first game. Pangburn shot the lights out of it that night and legitimately beat us. And then we lost to Clinton at home in overtime after leading by 11 points in the 4th quarter and got beat in overtime. So I mean, we are very, 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 very solid even in our 4 losses. And our team can score a lot of points. We're not going to come down and jack up a 3-point shot first time out of the saddle. We're just not going to. That's not our team. That's not the way Coach wants to play. Coach Gates wants, and you've heard him say this on this program and lots of other interviews too. Coach wants the other defensive team to work, and as long as the other defensive team's working, that means you're passing the ball offensively.
Right.
2 great weapons inside, good ball handlers on the outside, but our whole team being based on defense. We just play defense as well as anybody.
I'm telling you, our guys, that it's and to me, defense, in my opinion, it's effort. It's the effort that they put forth into, like Brandon said, that shutdown defense, that wanting the best. They want the best. Our guys want the best offender. They want to defend that guy. The best scorer. They're taking pride in shutting that guy out and keeping him under 10 and keeping him under. That's almost unheard of anymore. But to have that mentality and that mindset and the aggressiveness of the way we play defense, we just get after people. We're in their face. We're hand checking them. We're working. I mean, it's unbelievable. We're diving on the floor for the ball, and all that right there is just prime example. You put in the work. You make your mind up that you're going to do something well, and that's your strength, and let's do it.
Well, this basketball team defeated Rivercrest 61-46, beat Osceola 67-58, and you say, well, it's a couple of nice victories there for the Hounds. Those 2 teams had a lot of guys coming back on basketball teams that they shared the championship last year. They didn't get a chance to play each other. They came from the same conference, but they shared. So they were co-state champions a year ago before us taking on Harding and losing 52-50. And you know what kind of athletes Harding has. And I mean, those kids have been so good in football, been so good in basketball, and the Duggar kid and the Sipes kid. I mean, those guys are they're winners. They're winners, and we got a lot of winners too.
Oh, there's no doubt. Like you said, our whole conference, man, when you're 3 or 4, your conference is 3 teams out of the whole region. I mean, it says a lot about your conference, especially even when Pangburn, like I said, 1 shot away from being all 4. I mean, that just speaks volumes about your regular season record. I mean, you're playing great teams week in and week out, which sometimes in conferences there's always a few weak links here or there. But I don't know that our conference had many weak links. I thought we were all pretty salty. But the Hounds have been on a roll, no doubt. We are want to continue our success. We need you guys to continue to support us and come out to the ball games, get tickets if you can. Do you know how to get tickets?
Yeah, if you go to the Newport High School, Newport Special School District Facebook page, and you just follow the link, they allotted us 500 tickets. When I looked this afternoon, there were still some tickets that were available. So there are tickets there. We'd love to have 500 there, and we'd love to have another 5, 6, 7, 8,000 people watch on Facebook Live and on YouTube also. I mean, we had nearly 700, 800 people watching on YouTube and 7,000 or 8,000 people watching on Facebook, and but we were glad that those people that maybe couldn't get Facebook or whatever that could do YouTube, and our thanks to Joy McKnight for getting us set up to get that done, and we thank Joy for what he does. But
absolutely.
Here's what's ahead here for the Hounds. I kind of I looked ahead. I got the bracket this weekend. I looked at it and I said, well, we draw a Glen Rose team. He said, what do you know about Glen Rose? So here's what I found out. Glen Rose is a number 3 team out of Region 4. And all twos match up with threes, and they're 3. And their 3 ball games in the regional, they beat Smack over 41-25. They lost to McGee, who's a great basketball team. McGee's number 1 seed, 48-41. And then they played in the consolation game, the 3-4 game, and they beat Drew Central 46-37. So they didn't score over 50. They're 41, 46, 48. I don't know how good. I couldn't find anything on Max Preps. I couldn't find anything, for those guys. But anyway, they're going to be a good basketball team. There are 16 good ones. And then I was kind of looking ahead, and I looked ahead and I said, well, there's a Bergman, a number 1 seed. Let me find out about Bergman. And what I did find out about Bergman was that they had lost a ball game to Clinton earlier this year, and they lost a ball game to Pangburn earlier this year. And I thought, well, we'll match up quite well against Bergman. Well, guess what happens today, this afternoon in the first round of the state tournament? Lamar, a number 4 seed, beats Bergman 64-57.
Yep.
So
it happens.
You can't look ahead.
It happens, man.
I'm looking ahead and scouting Bergman, and Bergman's not there. I mean, it's Lamar. Both of those teams with great basketball tradition, great programs. But let me tell you what, Newport has as good a chance. Harding has as good a chance. Osceola has as good a chance. Clinton, when they're playing well, has a chance because they're playing at home. Any of these 4 teams from our region have a chance to win a state championship.
Oh, there's no doubt, David. They've got a tremendous chance. And like we said, there's no locks. There's no guarantee pencil this person in, they're going to win it, because at this level of play, man, this is good competition in high school basketball as there is anywhere. And you just can't look ahead. That's why they let you play. They go give you 24 minutes and say, get after it.
Well, they give you a date. They say, okay, we want you all to play. We want you all to be up here Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and that'll be your time to play your one game that we're going to guarantee you. There's no consolation. You win, you advance. Survive and advance. You win the 3 games. You have to win 3 games at Clinton, and then the finals will be at Hot Springs. And I would like to know that we're going to get to Hot Springs and have to pay that extra $5,000 that it takes for us to be able to do the ball game, because George Kell Motor Company and Elliott Sides has stepped to the forefront. And he said, David, let me tell you what, I'll pay a majority of that. I'll pay for the regional tournament games. I'll pay for, because the AAA charges us a lot of money to do these games. They don't do it for free. And we have a lot of money, but George Kell Motor Company and all of our sponsors have stepped up during the course of the year.
Absolutely.
But Elliott and Dean and the Sides family have really stepped up here in the regional tournament, in the district tournament, and certainly in the state tournament. And let me tell you what, if they even let you do the game, which they may not even let us do it, and I'm just looking ahead, and it would be a week from, it'd be on the, I can't remember when it is, 7 o'clock start, May 15th, March 19th, whatever day that may be.
Where are you at here on the
March
final?
Yeah,
March
final.
19th.
And that's at Hot Springs.
7 p.m.
Yeah, that's at the convention center in Hot Springs. But $5,000 to do the game. And let me assure you, ladies and gentlemen, if the AAA will let us do the game, we're going to do the game. we'll raise the $5,000.
I heard that. We'll figure something out, Mark.
We'll figure something out. If I have to pay the other half, that's fine. I'll pay the other half because I'm not going to miss it, and that's what I'll tell the Arkansas Activities Association. They say it is a minimum of $5,000, and they hold the key to that lock. So we'll just see what happens. But I'm excited to be able to even talk about playing for a state championship, Ben.
Yeah, it's awesome for the town. It's awesome for the school, just for everybody, man, the community, to have a chance to represent your team and your town in the state tournament. I mean, that's big stuff. I mean, it doesn't happen around here a lot anyway. Hasn't, in years, but 40 years since we won a conference, so that tells you something. But I wonder how many times we've been to a state tournament in the last 40 years.
Well, I'm not sure about some of the Coach Ozier coach teams, but
Okay.
I do know that after the 65 team, the 1970 bunch,
Okay.
which was Bobby Joe Forster, Rick Wiggins, Clay Wright, Steve Hogan, Robert Donaldson, Jim Reed Holden, Kearney Blaylock, those guys made it to the semifinals. They had a great run in the state tournament, won a couple of ball games, and they ran into a team that was the number one team in the state of Arkansas, the Searcy Lions, and they had a great shooter from the outside. They had a big 6'9", 6'10" guy named Lonnie Weber who went over to Arkansas State and was, all conference several years over there. But, I tell you this about Bobby Joe Forster and those know Bobby Joe, and you wonder why Cash was such a great athlete. Bobby Forster scored 52 points in a basketball game one night, and I watched him do it against DeWitt at the old gymnasium when they didn't have a three-point line. So Bobby Joe could shoot it.
He could shoot it.
Bobby Joe could shoot it.
He could shoot it.
Your senior year, I know we went to the state tournament. I think we either won a game or maybe we didn't win a game.
We played for a game in the regional.
Well, we lost in the finals of the regional, didn't we?
Yeah,
not,
so we went to
Lone
the
Oak?
state, and I know we played in one. I'm trying to think here. Yes, we lost to Lone Oak in the finals of the
I
regional.
think we got beat in the first round, and I could be wrong, but I know had we won, we were going to match up against Lone Oak. So maybe we won a game by a couple of points, and this was Coach Mack's team.
Yeah, I can't remember. And I talked to my buddy Cormaine Dean about it this weekend, but I'll find out.
Yeah, well, anyway, it's just interesting. And I just want to remind everybody that the game report brought to you by the Bank of England mortgage company, Kenny Thaxton, and he had told me that, of course, Sally has retired down there, and she's in the ad at the very first of the program, and will be until we can get those changed, but hired some new help. We'll talk more about her later. But if you're looking to refinance your home, or you're just looking for a home loan because you're trying to buy a house, we recommend the Bank of England mortgage company, Kenny Thaxton. They're located in the Village Mall, and they're very good folks. And then, of course, Unity Health Harris Medical Center, always bringing they bring us a post-game report, and always a report here, and always stepping up, doing the business spotlight, interviewing doctors and interviewing folks. We certainly thank those folks for doing what they do. And we'll have the birthday report tonight coming up in a little bit. And the one thing that I was going to tell everybody, when we get through talking about whatever we're talking about, I'm going to rerun a deal that's running now on Cable 15 TV. It's called a Remember When program. It was a 30-year reunion of the 1965 basketball team that at the old Nanny's Bakery, Mr. Charlie McKee and had the basketball team to come in and Cable 15 TV, and we filmed this program with Bud sitting down with the two coaches who are both deceased now, Coach Bernice Duke, who passed away just a few days after Coach Bill Ozier passed away, and then Butch Duncan, who was the assistant coach, who passed away earlier this year, Paul Massey, who had passed away several years ago, Bud Black, who also passed away. But all these guys are gone. But the memory of this show, 30 years after the fact, where we had all those guys back in there, and at the time, there was Mike Allen, who has passed away, but Donald Ray Smotherman was on that team. He was a starter. It was Paul Massey, Bill Ozier, Bill Holt, Donald Ray, Mike Allen. 4 out of the 5 at the time in 1995 lived in Newport, Arkansas.
That's great.
And so you talk about, they played in 65. We did this program in 95, and that's been a long, long time ago. And then you say it's been 40 years since we won a conference championship. So, I mean, time gets away from you,
Right.
but it's a great program. I hope everybody would stick around to watch this program. It's grainy. It's old VHS tape, and it's been converted on several occasions, but hope you would watch it and share the program, if you will. And I mean, it's an interesting deal. It'll be a look back brought to you by Customized Vision Care. Fathead Pizza, it's one word. It's all caps. Y'all know where they're located on Highway 367 North. Greatest pizza in the world. We talk about them all the time. We thank them for being a sponsor here on Sports Unleashed. State Farm Insurance with Andrew Roach. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Andrew, always some great savings on insurance. Diaz Scrap Metal. If you've got metal to sell, they've got money to pay. And Delta Trailer Manufacturing, celebrating 50 years of selling trailers and making trailers to folks throughout not only the United States of America, but Canada, also really around the world. C&M Ag Depot, Ben, we can't say enough about what these guys do for our community and the things that they have for sale at C&M.
Oh man, it's just I'm in there daily, constantly, and as well as a lot of folks around here, you know, that are involved in agriculture or pretty much anything outdoors. They've got, you know, hunting supplies, hunting clothing. They've got, you know, shotgun shells, self-defense ammunition, you know, Milwaukee power tools. Anything you need, they've got. I mean, it is pretty impressive when you go to looking at just from wall to wall the inventory that they carry and the, you know, the diversity of things that they have. It truly is a staple in our community, and if you hadn't been in there, you need to go check them out. They're good folks, man, local people, and just providing a service for us and being there is important, you know, and we need to support them.
Kenny Fletcher at, we call him Cha-Cha, and Fletcher Land Surveying at 223rd Street in Newport. And you need your boundaries checked. You've got a real estate closing. You want to make sure that you're getting the property that you think you're supposed to get. He can do flood level certifications and pivot systems. He also can help with those. Also, give him a call at that number, 523-5625 or 512-8631. Farmers Tire Mart, where the rubber meets the road, Ben. Tires and service, and they do a lot of great things at Farmers Tire Mart.
Absolutely, man. They've got tires for just about everything. You got a little old lawnmower, you know, anything from a small wheelbarrow tire to a big tractor tire, inner tube tire, whatever. They'll come out. If you have a flat on the side of the road, call them. They'll come out and send a truck out and get you back going. Good folks. The Bain family been doing it a long, long time, and go by and check them out.
And I also want to thank White River Health System and you know, all the opportunities that we get to visit with some of those. Did an interview with a very interesting doctor, Dr. Doreen Kamoga, who is from Uganda, and she's an internal medicine specialist. And you can see that interview on Cable 15 TV, or you can also see it, and maybe we'll play it sometime next week. But thank those folks. El Puente Restaurant, Mexican restaurant, and Ben, I don't guess it gets any better than El Puente.
I've eaten Mexican food all over the world since I was, as long as I can remember. We would go out of town to eat Mexican food. When I was a kid, we didn't have a Mexican restaurant here. But it's as good as I put in my mouth anywhere in the world. And I've eaten it all over the world. I love Mexican food. But that place out there, and there's people that come from all around.
They do.
We're known, you know, El Puente is a known, established landmark in Newport, Arkansas. And it's just wonderful food, wonderful service. Manuel's going to be here. He's in there every day. That's why they're so successful. He's in there. He's hands-on. He's cooking if he needs to be cooking. He's cleaning if he needs to be cleaning. He's shutting down if he needs to be shutting down. You know, he does whatever he's got to do. But go out there and see Manuel and the gang and spend some money at El Puente.
Well, and I'll tell you what, and if you're looking for sandwiches, and this is, you know, doing ads of restaurants back-to-back, but that's okay because Subway in the Newport Walmart Supercenter, the Sampson family have been with us for a long, long time. And they're on our sports program on Sports Unleashed, and we thank them for, you know, helping us get these things done. That, you know, it cost us money to get them done, and without people like the Sampsons, we couldn't get it done. We certainly thank them. I mean, think if you need a Subway sandwich, think about the Sampsons. Think about in Walmart Supercenter. Go by there and get you some lunch. You know, fresh. You know, eat fresh daily at Subway in the Newport Walmart Supercenter.
Absolutely.
Ben, I'm going to do the birthday report and remind everybody the birthday report's always brought to you by Two Chicks Florist and More. And it's springtime, and it's that time to get everything ready to go, and Two Chicks has it ready. Two Chicks,
they've got it going on. I haven't checked the status of the greenhouse, but it will not be long. If they don't have anything in there, I'm almost certain they're going to have something in the greenhouse, but it won't be long, and the spring flowers will be here. It's amazing to me at just the variety of things that they carry in the springtime flowers, just the colors and the types of flowers. Sure. And they've been doing it for so long now, you know. they kind of keep a record of what they ordered last year, and people will ask them throughout the year. And I've even done this. Jenna, do you have this? And if she didn't have it down through the years, she will now have it.
She'll have it for you.
And she makes sure she takes care of her customers, and they're on top of it. But go by and see them for any and all your landscape and flower needs, at floral arrangements. If you got a birthday coming up or an anniversary, go by and see them. Let them make you a floral arrangement on Valentine's Day. I got Kelsey some roses, and they were absolutely gorgeous.
Did you get roses? I got Linda some roses.
She loved them. Yes, I did roses.
Wow, you
pretty
are
old,
awesome,
pretty
man.
old pink roses, man.
Oh,
and she
beautiful.
was tickled to death. So
well, we had some, and they only lasted like 10 days.
Yeah.
I've seen them before, and they last 2 days.
I heard that.
I mean, they were just stayed beautiful forever.
Ours did too.
Ours about
did too.
2 weeks.
It was a while.
Yes, sir. Worth the money.
I guarantee it.
Worth the money.
Guarantee it.
The birthday report brought to you by Two Chicks Florist and More today. Lon Simmons, Jeff Rowland has a birthday today. Alex Smith, former UAM baseball player with Grant Black. Alexis Cash has a birthday. Elaine Thomas, happy birthday, Miss Elaine. Laura Larson King with a birthday. Susan Harris from over at Harrisburg, and Kathy Platt from up at Tuckerman with birthdays today. And later this week, Julia Jones with a birthday. Lori Owens, Marla Rowland, former Newport Greyhound. Kathy Drew. Brad Bobo with a birthday. Ashton Anderson. Jeanette Flowers. Evelyn Lambert Smith, the former Dancing Razorback, Newport's own. Jim Goss. Juke Brown. Bryce Shelton. Rachel Cooper, who works at Customized Vision Care. Greg Crouch with a birthday. Tanya Carlton with a birthday coming up. Liz Connolly. Mr. William Don Shelton has a birthday later this week. Chuck Obrickfeld, it's Kenny Obrickfeld's brother. Got to know him when Grant was playing up for the Gateway Grizzlies. Bobby Stoner with a birthday. Kim Welch Tapman. Tristan Sweat. Vicki Winningham. Gary Paxson, who is the CEO and executive president over at White River Health System in Batesville. Marty Brown from Farmers Tire Mart. Ron Jolly. Linnell Chavez. Chelsea Weinmiller. Brent Thornton has a birthday. Adrian Davis. Joyce Chun, she's a Newport graduate, 1974. Chris Bryant. John Allen. Daniel Addington. Debbie Jones. Linda Humphreys with a birthday. Brian Templeton. James Clark. And Rodney Welch with all birthdays coming up sometime this week. I do want to mention this, folks. If you haven't driven through our parking lot here, it's not our parking lot anymore. It actually belongs to Blue Bridge Brews and Bakery. I don't know if you like specialty coffees. I don't know if you like lattes. I don't know if you like hot chocolate. I don't know if you like flavored Red Bull. I don't know if you like iced tea and different types of teas. Speaking of the lattes, you can get a hot, you can get an ice, or you can get a blended. I don't know if you like treats like cupcakes and cookies and thumbprint type cookies, chocolate chip cookies, muffins, cheesecake, peanut butter chews. I don't know if you like cinnamon rolls, but if you like any of these or anything else that may be a dessert or anything else that you think you might want to drink, drive through the drive-through window and order at Blue Bridge Brews and Bakery, and they do a lot of brewing and they do a lot of baking. And let me say this about the cinnamon rolls. You can't get a better cinnamon roll anywhere in the world besides Blue Bridge Brews and Bakery. They have some gluten-free stuff. They have some sugar-free stuff from time to time. I was the guinea pig on some sugar-free cookies, and I ate the cookies, and I kind of felt guilty because I asked for some more because I didn't think that they were. I thought, man, these are not sugar-free. I will eat me some more. No, they're sugar-free. They're sugar-free. I thought, well, I'll go ahead and eat some more then. But they're good local people. They've invested a lot of money to try to take care of you. And if you need some of their specialty items, new store hours from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday, and then Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you give them a call at 512-9545, I think, maybe 48, it's 9540. Look them up on Facebook and like their page on Facebook, and they'll have the phone number there. But you can call the number, and then you can order your whatever you want early. They'll give you an idea of what you got. You can drive through. You can get out. You can come in. You can order it while you wait outside, or you can, sometimes there's a line out there, and that's good for business. That you got lines.
Absolutely. They provide that coffee.
Oh,
man, which I love coffee
It's not
too.
just coffee. I mean, it's
Oh, the latte, but I call it all coffee, but it's all different. But I've had several things. I can't even tell you what all I've had. I'll go in there and tell them, just make me something they'll post on Facebook. Say, make me one of those.
There you go.
I've never had anything over there that wasn't good. They brought me some no-bake cookies. Oh my goodness, I just demolished them with some iced coffee. That was iced coffee day.
I went in one day a couple of weeks ago, and they had some of those peanut butter chews. They're made out of corn flakes, and all that syrup. And I wanted one plateful is what I wanted. I wanted to open. I didn't get one because I said, I got to cut back, and I had a little deal coming up. Didn't need to be eating sugar at the time, but let me tell you what, they have treats of all kind, and you can't get better stuff. Homemade daily at Blue Bridge. Blue Bridge Brews and Bakery. They're located at 2600 Doyle Street. You need brews, you need lattes, you need sweet treats, they've got them. Ben Black?
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to the Hounds getting after it this coming weekend. We've got a big tournament. We already have one upset in the tournament, and I don't know that it's an upset when a 4 seed beats a 1 seed, but Lamar beat Bergman today 64-57. It's Newport and Glen Rose, and we are Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Wednesday at 1, and then if we were fortunate enough to win that ball game, we would play again
Friday at 1.
Friday at 1 o'clock. Friday at 1, and then Monday at 1, and then we get in the state championship game. Who knows? Who knows?
One at a time. That's how we're going to play them.
All you got to do is win one.
Yep, just win one. Survive in advance.
Yep, survive in advance. And I look forward to the Hounds having a great run in this tournament. I think the Hounds will play exceptionally hard. I think the Hounds will play every play as if it might be their last one, and especially for the seniors, because it's coming, guys. It's going to end sometime. It's going to end, and you don't want it to end when you go, I didn't give my best effort on one play that might have been the difference in the game.
Yep, if you leave it all out on the court and you feel in your heart that you've done all you can do as a coaching staff, as a fan base, as a player, as the trainer, whoever, if everybody's willing to give everything they've got and put everything into it, and even if you fall short, that's all you can ask for.
All you can do.
Yep.
That's all
you can ask. That's
and
all anybody can ask
You go
for.
shake the other people's hand and
Give them credit.
Give them credit. And I've said this all along. 16 teams go, and only one will walk out of there having won 4 games in a row. So it's the odds are against you winning.
Absolutely.
They're against every team winning. But I think our 4 guys have got good a chance to get to the finals as anybody.
Yeah.
And you take.
I just couldn't believe if somebody told me there's 4 teams that would just absolutely dominate our 4 teams out of our conference, our region.
Right.
I don't think. I mean, those 4 teams, they're pretty solid. If there's 4 teams out there better than our 4, completely, then
they got a great conference.
Then they got a great conference. Absolutely.
Honor to get there. And
yes, it is.
I told you earlier about this great video that we've got coming up, Ben, and I want to get it ready to go right now. It is
yes, sir.
It's a 1995 invitation to Nanny's Bakery, where Bud Black and Charlie McKee invited the Newport starting 5 of the basketball team, the last one to win a state championship. They finished 27-4. And they were coached by Coach Bernice Duke and by Coach Butch Duncan. And there's a lot of late great people in this video, including Paul Massey, Bill Ozier, Mike Allen, Bernice Duke, Butch Duncan, Bud Black.
Before we get to that.
Yes, sir.
I want to talk about a couple Razorback issues.
All right, let's talk a little Razorback.
Basketball.
Okay, Razorback issues coming up.
We've been on a roll, man. We're 21-6 according to my stat book here that I looked at a while ago, which I don't have up now. Where did it go? I know
we got time to find it. It's just me and
we're
you.
21-6 overall. 12-1 at home, 7-3 away. We're 13-4 in conference. 21-5 overall.
There you go.
16-1 at home, 5-4 on the road. We've lost to Missouri, we lost to LSU, we lost to Alabama, we lost to Oklahoma State.
They're all going to the tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all going to the tournament.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
Hog's pretty solid.
Well, I think what Musselman has done is he's done a great job of recruiting from when he first got there, he got some transfers. He likes the transfer. He's a professional coach who can he recruits professional talent, and he got some great young guys from the state of Arkansas.
Absolutely.
And the Moody kid is as good as anybody in the country.
Yep.
And calm and cool. And I watch him play, and his demeanor on the court. You never see him with any emotion, good or bad. You never see him. He's not a high-fiver. He's a play his game, hit the three, come down. He might nod his head a little bit, but they've got a great basketball team.
Absolutely. And Smith, I believe Smith is,
Yes, he's awesome.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm thinking that he was out in the 3 losses. I don't think he was there.
You may be right.
And so with Smith, I don't think that we've lost a game.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
But they're just, anytime at any sport that I'm aware of up there in Arkansas, when we recruit in-state people, we generally have success.
Absolutely.
When you get some of those in-state, you can't
You
have
gotta get
all,
'em.
yeah, but you got to
get
get
'em.
the ones that are here.
Yeah, you got to get the ones you want.
And yeah, that's right, and I think that's crucial for the success of your program. So Razorback basketball coming up, they'll be playing. When's the next penciled-in game here?
I don't have a clue.
But anyway, it'll be the SEC tournament, and it'll start on Friday, March the 12th, at 6 p.m. So number 2 ranked Arkansas in basketball, and then let's talk about overall number 1 ranked Arkansas Razorback baseball team.
They are solid, undefeated.
Yep.
Let me tell you what, and you go where you beat Missouri State. I don't care who you play in baseball, you can lose.
Oh yeah.
You can lose to Missouri State, because Missouri State's one of those teams that they'll be in regionals.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have a chance to beat people in regionals. They play a tough schedule. Obviously, the SEC stuff, and they're going to lose some games. They're not going to go undefeated.
All right.
They're going to lose some games. They're going to get beat 7-6 or 7-1. Sometimes some pitchers are going to come in there. But for somebody to come into Fayetteville to take 2 out of 3 from those guys,
It's
that's
tough
going to be
task.
tough.
It's tough
It's a
task.
tough task. And then that could happen too. But I know this: you get in conference and anything can happen. But being, Dave Van Horn has done a marvelous job of being able to pick and choose some of the greatest talent in the nation.
Yep.
And he can go out and he can pick which ones. It's not like he has to go beg anybody to come. I mean, there are people who are asking him, "Can I come?" And if he's got a spot for, if it's the top one on his list, you get a chance. But it hurts. But if not, good luck when you pitch against, him when you're at Ole Miss.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
All right, what else, Ben Black?
That's all I had, man.
That's it.
With
That's
the
a good
Razorback
show.
report.
Good
Yes, sir.
Good show. Well, Hayden didn't make it in. I know he went out and watched part of the junior high baseball game today. I hope the pups are doing well there. Got a lot of young talent coming in that group, and I was going to try to go out and watch a little bit of that today, but didn't get out there. But Ben, I appreciate you making it here with me.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here.
I'm glad to be a little bit better and be back to where I can at least function a little bit. If I don't look good, I'm sorry. And if I don't dress nice, I am shaving, and I did go to the doctor today, and he said, "You're not quite well, but you're making progress." And that's the only thing you ask for, is make a little progress.
Keep making progress.
And Linda told me this week, "You don't look so well." Oh, well, I feel okay.
So, you got glasses on, doesn't look real well.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Half blind.
Exactly right. But again, we're going to play this video, and it lasts about 45 minutes, and I'll let Ben get out of here. Folks, we appreciate you watching here on our Facebook Live program, Sports Unleashed, and we thank all of our great sponsors who make it all possible. And until we see you again Wednesday, so long, everybody.
Motors in Newport is not your typical new car dealership. Sure, we've got a great selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs, great prices, and an award-winning service department. But did you know that we can customize your vehicle to make it look exactly like you want it to look? Come see us. We got wheels, tires, lift kits, window tint, any and everything you want to personalize your vehicle to make it unique. Just come to George Kell Motors off of Highway 67, exit 85 in Newport. Let's get started on your ride.
One. Well, hi everybody, and welcome to a very special presentation here on Cable 15. We're at Nanny's Bakery, where the McKees have cordially invited us down to tape what we think is going to be a great program. We have invited the 1965 Newport Greyhounds State Championship basketball team here to a special reunion and get together. And the guys are here. We have the 5 starters. We also have Coach Bernice Duke. Coach Raymond Butch Duncan has made the trip down from Batesville. Paul Massey from Tulsa is here, and we're going to spend the next portion of our program just visiting with the guys. We're going to rehash Newport's state championship year of 1965, and we're going to update you on where all these guys are. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing. Of the 5 starters, 4 of the guys still live right here in Newport, Arkansas, the exception Paul Massey, who came in from Tulsa. We'll be visiting with everybody. I'm sure we're going to hear some stories that we've never heard before. I'm sure they're going to get embellished a little bit also, but we hope that it's going to be a fun time. We thank the McKees, and we remind you, for the best pastries in the world, Nanny's Bakery. They got them right here. You know you can't beat the goodies they've got at Nanny's, and we thank the McKees for having us here. And coming up, Mr. Charlie's been wanting to do this for some time. It's a great idea, and we've got the store decorated with Greyhound memorabilia, and the guys are back here in the background reminiscing and talking, and we're just going to have sort of a roundtable discussion with the fellas that are here and relive some of those wonderful memories. It's the start of the high school basketball season, so we thought it was a pretty good time to play this tape. Now, if you're watching on Sunday afternoon, we're airing the program first on Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock, and you can see it again Tuesday evening at 6 o'clock, and then on Friday morning, the day after Thanksgiving, our Breakfast Bunch show at about 7:30. A lot of folks watch our Breakfast Bunch from 6:30 to 8, so we'll start our replay of this broadcast again. So if you're watching on Sunday or Tuesday and you missed part of it, Friday morning about 7:30, be able to see this program once again. We're going to get all the guys seated. We're going to try to do a roundtable discussion, introduce you to everybody. As a matter of fact, I might just walk over there and start talking to the guys and let them introduce themselves, and then we'll all get seated. We'll do that right now. Okay, and we've got everybody seated, and we're going to continue with our program. Let me introduce these guys to you now. There are a lot of folks in Newport now that weren't here 31, 32 years ago, and we want to start. To my immediate left is Paul Massey. And Paul, let me ask you where you're residing now.
Jinx, Oklahoma, in Tulsa, suburb of Tulsa. Don't live too far from Coach Duke, about a mile away.
All right, and of course, everybody knows Coach Bill Ozier, a longtime Newport High School basketball coach, very successful, winning many conference championships, and as a great part of this team. Let me tell you what his best asset is, besides being a great basketball player: trivia and knowledge. All right, you're the stat man on this show.
Don't hold me to every fact, buddy.
Okay, we'll do our best. Now, to my immediate right is Coach Bernice Duke, who has made the trip in from Tulsa. Coach Duke, glad to have you here.
Oh, thanks a lot. I was here I think, coached here like 5 or 6 years, and I look back at some of the highlights of my life being here at Newport.
You bet, winning that state championship, and everybody here knows Coach Butch Duncan, who has been super successful up in Independence County, his home grounds with Farm Bureau Insurance. Coach, a pleasure to have you here, because I was telling these guys earlier, and a lot of folks don't know, that you and I were together as part of this team in a way, because you were the head junior high basketball coach when I was a 9th grader, and we traveled a lot with this ball club. And I was telling the guys earlier, the night they lost to Paragould, we won.
Right. Maybe the only time we beat Paragould.
Wait. Let me mention something here. I happen to have the junior high scorebook from that year. And we look here in the first
Nobody
game.
cares, Bernie.
No, against Wynn. Wait a minute, Wynn. Y'all beat Wynn 38-26. And Mr. Black started. He was on fire. He scored 9 points, but you didn't have him in shape, because in the fourth quarter, he didn't score anything.
Look at him. You think you can get him in shape?
Well, he was great up until the fourth quarter.
Said, when were you ever this skinny? I said, I must have just been born. I don't remember being that.
Yeah, I played a little bit for Coach Duncan's team that year in '65, and next to Coach Duncan is Mike Allen, and Mike, one of the guards we would call on the team, and then Donald Ray Smotherman, and most of you local folks know Donald Ray and Mike. Donald Ray, very successful with the State Farm Insurance, and Bill Holt, who has returned to Newport. And Bill, welcome back. And Bill is the minister at the Holden Avenue Church of Christ, and one of the first truly really good big men to play basketball in the state of Arkansas. So guys, first off, it is a pleasure to have everybody here. We have no format. We want to tell the folks watching at home we're just as loosey-goosey as we can be, and we want to talk basketball, and we want to talk 1965. Coach Duke and Coach Duncan, I'll start with them. I'll ask a couple of questions, and I just want everybody to jump right in. We'll talk about these things. Did you have an idea that this basketball team before the season started had a chance to do what it was going to do?
Well, I don't think we thought about winning the state at the time. The problem was we were in the toughest conference. I mean, the conference we were in had Leechville, Paragould, Greene County Tech, and those kind of places. They had won the state for the last 3 or 4 years, and just to get in to go to the state was going to be really tough. I mean, you had to either get in the finals or win it to go. And I remember that Batesville almost beat us because we got beat the year before and didn't get to go.
The sun went down.
And I mean, it was tough even getting to the state tournament. And then we'd only lost 3 up until that time, and so we certainly had a good team. But there was other teams in the state and the region that was perhaps as good as us.
Okay, I'm going to ask you. Yeah, Bill.
When Paul asked Paul when he first thought about winning the state tournament.
Yeah, Paul Massey. When did you?
Little Rock Hall game.
Okay, Little Rock Hall contest.
Man, I don't know. What was it?
Bill remembers, and you know.
I'm older than Bill.
If you like the score of that game, I can give it to you. But it was Newport 68, Little Rock Hall 48. They had scheduled us as a breather before they played Little Rock Central on a Friday night.
Oh.
And we took care of business pretty good.
Beat them, and I think that was the game that we thought we might have a chance to do something, because we beat a sort of a big-time team then.
The ball game that I remember, and I don't know why, but it was at Greene County Tech rather early in the year, and we won it. Was it Massey that dribbled out the clock? I remember Paul running around like a chicken with his head cut off, but holding on to that ball, and I'm sitting there saying, looky here, guys, we're going to win at Greene County Tech. And I knew right then, I said, this ball club can do something.
They were good. They actually ended up, I believe, in the semifinals of state, and they had, they had like 3, 4 guys, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", like that. So, yeah, they had an excellent team.
We played them, 4 or 5
times? And when we played them in the semifinals of state tournament, the first quarter, they had us. They made 11 out of 13 field goal shots. They had us 24 to 15 at the end of the first quarter. But the first one that really scared us is when we went down and we played Mountain Home, who won the state the next year. We played in the first round. They had us 19 to 8 or something like that. At the end of the first quarter, they had us, and I said, guys, we're going to have to change the offense. We're going to have to press, not to try to steal the ball, but we've got to get them to run in and get them out of their pattern. And consequently, we tied them up at, I believe it was 32-all at the first half, and then went ahead and beat them like 19 points or something like that.
That was the start of the run of the 4 games in the state tournament. Bill Ozier, when did you first feel like this basketball team had a chance to be something special?
I felt like it when we beat Paragould here at Newport. We jumped out on them about 16-2 and pretty much kept the lead the whole game and put them away. And I think they were rated like 4th or 5th in the entire state at that time. And that was, I think, in about mid-January or early January. And I knew right then that we were going to be pretty good.
Okay, guys, everybody else, Donald Ray, our coach?
This team had a good chemistry about it. We had, Bill's a big man, and Mike was a designated shooter. He was own designated shooter, Donald Ray ran the ball club. Ozier steady rebounded, and Massey was the red-headed guy. And, we had it all. I mean, he did all the trick shots. We had a big coach, a little coach, you know.
We had the best balance. We had the best balance because if you look at the scoring average, they all, most of them double figures, and they were all about the same. Like I say, he was a quarterback up front, passing everything. Mike, boy, he could shoot that thing and break up zones. Bill underneath. They couldn't turn anybody loose. Paul could shoot outside our drive, and so Ozier the same thing. They could make free throws. They weren't jealous of each other.
Yeah, that's team here. There was no. I played on all football, basketball, baseball, and track from the 7th grade. This is the only team I ever played on Newport. There was not any jealousy. It was
whoever's night it was, and get the ball to somebody. Don, Bill, what do you guys remember when you looking back at it when you said, "Uh-oh, looky here, we got a chance to do something great"?
It was the Paragould game that I remember that we seemed to really play well against them, and the fans. I can remember that game. They had to bring the chairs out to sit around the court, and we had a lot of good support from the fans.
We did.
Well, see, Newport, and I showed it to Coach Duke last night, and he didn't believe it, but Newport, we held the state record at Barton Coliseum. There was like 6,400 people there until the 70s when the triplets, when Arkansas had the triplets. That was a state, the biggest crowd ever see a basketball game in Arkansas until the triplets come along, which was, you know.
If you saw the movie Hoosiers, you almost saw a thing like because when we'd go to play, boy, we'd go in the bus, and a lot of Newport people would go in cars right behind us, so that helped out too, helping at the game.
Bill Holt, when do you recall?
Well,
what
like
ball
I said,
game?
I think that Little Rock Hall game was a big difference for me. Although, you know, like we thought at that time, yeah, we've got a pretty good chance and we've got a pretty good team. But I don't know. I look back on those years, and I recall that. You know, I don't think I really believed it until the end. I think then I really believed it.
Do you guys?
Bobby Blanchard cut the net down. You know?
Do you guys remember the early ball game that year, Bill, at McCrory? Was it? We almost got beat at McCrory. High scoring affair, wasn't it, or something? Tell me about it, Coach Ozier.
Well, that was a game where I think we had already maybe beaten Paragould, and we were feeling pretty good. And we thought we'd go down to McCrory. I think they were a Class A team and beat them. And we were warming up before the game, and we heard a little commotion on the other end, and they had guys down there slam dunking. And you just didn't do that much, you know, back then. And those guys led us, I think, 3.5 quarters. And I think we ended up beating them 78-74 and had to put it away at the end. And that gave us, as they say today, a wake-up call, I think.
Yeah, and might have really helped, I mean, you know, on down the road. I remember that, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Batesville game, the district tournament, because, you know, as your 30 years have gone by and people think, oh, we just swept through the district tournament, boy, and as Coach Duncan said, golly, we came very close.
Everyone wants to talk about. Most of the people in Newport know Archie Jones. And I told Bernest, you know, I'd watched Batesville play, and of course being from there, and Jones couldn't throw one in this building, you know. I said, leave him alone, and we did. He scored about 20-something points. It's a highlight of his career. Most of the time, most people basically don't want to talk about a lot about Newport games in anything, you know. But he tells that story quite often about how we almost let them beat us. You know,
right.
Some good players with Brogdon and Llewellyn. They had a good team.
Yeah, they did have a good ball.
You know, it's funny. It's human nature. You know, you remember the losses. You got 27 wins, but you seem to remember the losses. Our ball club lost to Mariana in the Northeast Arkansas tournament, lost to Leachville at home, and then lost the game that anybody that grew up in Newport, Arkansas, and was here in the 60s will always remember, the game at Paragould, 51-49. Stat man?
That's pretty close.
Okay. All right.
And that's exactly right, buddy.
And that is one that we'll all remember because, unfortunately, things weren't real friendly on the floor afterwards. That was a ball game, and I'm going to get Coach Ozier to hit me with the setup here. I think he'll remember that we had the ball game won and thought we got fouled late. It was either Mike or Donald Ray thought got fouled. And Hyde or somebody ended up at the free throw line for Paragould.
To the best. Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, the scene was this. I was watching the action there at the end. I basically watched the whole game because, if I remember, I didn't play very good. And we had trailed the whole ball game, and Coach Duke had called a press, and we pressed them right at, most of the fourth quarter. And Paul, I think, finally made a steal on the press and scored with something like 3 or 4 seconds on the clock. It was a driving layup type play. And, it's just a matter of them throwing the ball in and maybe slinging a long one up for a desperation shot. But all of a sudden, the whistles blew.
That was after we were already in the huddle.
Yes, sir. The whistles blew, and we went to the huddles. And Coach Duke was telling us what to do, and Coach Pinnell was telling their guys what to do. And they go to the huddle, and they pick out one of Paragoul's players and tell him he's shooting 1-and-1.
Yeah, with no time.
With no time on the clock, and we're getting ready for overtime. So he steps up to the line, and he shoots the first one and makes it. And I said, well, this is it. So I head to the dressing room. And I go in and get me a drink of water, and I wait about 30 seconds, and nobody shows up. And I wait a little while longer, then I go back out, and the floor was covered with a sea of people. I mean, and there weren't real pleasant expressions on everybody's face. And someone else might want to take it from there, but that's the setting that I remember about the Paragould game.
Now, I was out on the floor during that time, but I was strictly out there as a peacemaker.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. With my personality, I was not agitating anything at all. I was trying to get Bernice to whip everybody in. I said, Bernice, you're a boxer. I said, hit somebody. You won the Golden Gloves, man. Go out there and punch somebody out.
It was an unbelievable night, and I know that fans will always remember that one. I think that's a ball game that fired our club up. I think
it fired our town up too.
Yeah, I think the town, everybody got involved, and they said, "Look, we're really going to go do well from here on in." And but that's sea of people. That's a sea of humanity or whatever. Give me a recollection, guys, real quick about that night and what you remember about it and the ball game itself.
They called a foul on you, didn't it?
Yeah,
you weren't even ordered.
I was number 5, and they called a foul on me, and I was on the other end of the court, and I was the one that supposedly fouled the guy at the end of the game.
They said on the rebound, I said, what happened? They said, well, when he shot at the buzzer, of course the game was over, said on the rebound, 2 guys bumped together, and we believe one of your guys bumped more into him than the other. And so that was what they called it.
The best I remember that they had to escort the referees out of town. Newport folks was waiting on them.
Oh, man.
And it was about an hour after the game, and the police had to escort them to the outskirts of Paris.
You guys remember the late Mr. Dean Hook was very quiet, mild-mannered gentleman. Yes, and Mr. Ransom Smith, but I remember Mr. Hook, out there. And he was emulating Bernice Duke. He was actually throwing. Yeah, his coat off. You're ready to throw a left jab or two.
But I never actually accosted anyone at that match.
Right.
It wasn't because I wasn't urging you.
And here's Bill, the man of the cloth, see, and I'm associating with this bunch for all these years.
He took the high road.
Oh my goodness! Let's see. We lost the ball game to Leachville home, and then won at their place.
There, Mike made a last-second jump shot from.
That was in 2
But
overtimes.
I think that is the only game that we actually lost right over here when Leachville beat us.
69-63. Had a terrible night.
Guard they had, man.
I think they shot 70% that game. Yeah, they were tough that game.
They had 2 or 3 guys played at UCA.
Yeah.
They were good, though.
District was good.
Oh, well, 3 of the Final 4 were in the state champion. I mean, 3 of the Final 4 from this district in the state playoffs down at Barton Coliseum. And who didn't get there? Paragould lost to Harris.
Batesville, unfortunately. And Batesville was good.
Okay, no, I'm talking about in the state tournament. We actually.
Well, I mean, Batesville didn't get to go to the state.
Right. Had to play us in the open round. District tournament time, guys. Here we are. We're rocking and we're rolling. We get to go over, and we just mentioned Batesville and Bill. That ball game was
64-60 Newport.
And so we weren't just really as good as we were. We just weren't blowing people away.
Stats and leave me out before this. A lot of this stuff I don't remember.
A lot of this time you weren't listening.
Hey, listen.
That's what I'm doing here.
But look, they were actually, the game was tied up, and I said, look, we got the ball. And I said, look, let's hold the ball, make them foul us. But I said, if they come out and get us, go in for a layup. And that's what we did at in the very end. And we got a couple of shots.
Yeah, we had to make about 4 free throws to put it away.
Yeah,
and baseball led about the whole game.
They led the whole game.
That's when I almost broke my hand on that chalkboard in that gym. You remember at halftime? Oh, Bertie said, you got anything you want to say? And I said, yeah, and I whammed that chalkboard. I was trying to get somebody to wake up because we were walking around
you got to realize, I don't know if Leach was like this now, but they didn't have football. I mean, their whole sports program was basketball.
Sure. Yeah. Small school playing at a little higher level, higher classification. And they were very, very good, no doubt about it. And, everybody in the league, I guess, was pretty solid. We win that district tournament. Everybody remembers it snowed at Leachville. We fought the snow driving home. Remember all that? I mean, it snowed coming home that night of the semifinals or finals. We get to go to Barton Coliseum. It's 19-6, as Coach Duke said at the end of the first quarter. Paul Massey, what were you thinking? We're thinking we'll come back, or, boy, we don't have any business being here. Or...
I tell you what, I thought we better get with it. But right at before the half, I think, didn't we try to press them just a little bit?
Just to get them loosened up.
Yeah. But I tell you, old Bill Holt won that game for us right there because Bill just demolished the center for them. And yeah, he got 33 points that game. So
is that the dunk?
That was a 3-step dunk.
The 3-step dunk, yeah. The three.
I guess that was 3 steps.
Yeah, it was a dunk, so that's what counted. Yeah.
But
Don't tell my boy about that.
Oh, he could jump high though. He just made it look good.
We were down 19-6 and came back and won that ball game. And in the second round, Mablevale, which is now Little Rock McClellan, right? What do we remember?
They had one really good player called Middleton, and we were just a better team than them. And we went out and we got ahead of them in about the middle of the fourth quarter. I put the subs in, to give the subs a chance and make that other team feel good. So they put a press on our subs, and that's when they started cutting the lead down. But they didn't cut it enough, of course, but they cut it, and that's when the newspapers remembered, as you'll get on as we travel along, you're going to see the newspapers are going to come back and say, Harrison wins on the best press we've ever seen. Oh, Mableville hurt Newport with their press. Well, it was against our subs, you see. Right. They didn't remember that. So that's when they thought we were going to get beat in the finals.
Okay, now, guys, we know we come back in the Mountain Home ball game and win that. We beat Mablevale. We know we're looking at one of our guys that we've beaten a couple of times already in the semifinals. Barely. But we know that, you got some confidence there, but those goblins are lurking, and there they are. They're great press. Nobody can get the ball up the floor against the Harrison Goblins. They don't beat people. They just destroy them. As we get ready to go to the semifinals, is everybody kind of peeking over their shoulder looking at Harrison? And how do you feel about that?
Looking at Paragould.
I started looking at Harrison the first day we got down there. Yeah. I realized that we were going to be in the finals, or I thought we were going to be in the finals. And I told Burns, I said, you get us to the finals, and I'll tell you how to take care of Harrison.
Now listen, we've heard the legend for 30 years, and now from the big horse's mouth himself.
Let me tell you what he did. He came right straight to me after the semifinal game, and he said, now tell me.
Okay, so we went up and practice.
I know it. We came out and practiced. Their point guard could not throw one in a bucket, and he was always dishing off down inside. And these three guys played on the back, and we stood there, and we didn't let him throw it to the big boy that went to University of Arkansas. What was his name? I can't remember. Played football. Lendell Thomas, and he was the one who was scoring all their points.
And Turney brothers, too.
Yeah, the Turney brothers were pretty good, but he was the point guard never wanted to shoot, and he took about 6 or 7 shots.
On him, yeah.
I tell you what helped us. The significant thing on that game was beating the press.
Yeah. Oh, it was.
Because we worked on beating the press, and we did.
Yeah.
And we worked on that Saturday before we left.
When we came, we
came back. And we did, and they just sort of folded.
The guy that's throwing it in, the other guy go get in. You pass it to him, and then the guy steps out. They're really fooling.
They didn't have any idea what,
See, here's the thing. Paragould was a very good team. I had this Washington boy that went to Mississippi State, about 6'6", I guess he was. And so what happened? So they Paragould was beaten in the semifinals. They were ahead of Harrison 16-5 after the first quarter. Harrison put on a tough press, caught them, beat them about 10, 15 points. Okay. So I realized, and I've seen teams today that do it against the press, they're just happy to get it over the half. They'll get it over the half, and then they'll set up. I said, guys, we've got to make them pay for that press. So we set up Bill at the top of the circle, threw it into him, and then the streak down the court, and we'd always have 2-on-1 or 3-on-2. We scored on their press. And then once you get behind in the press, what can you do? You can't do anything else. I mean, you can't go in the zone or something. So we just got ahead of them, and they just never could.
17?
We beat them
67-49.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, I knew, just like y'all were saying earlier, when Mike come down there, and I think he hit, was it 3 in a row? Yeah. And they called timeout real quick. I knew right then that was going to be the easiest game of the whole tournament right there. Because, I mean, Mike come down there right at the top of the circle, bam, 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 and boy, they called timeout quick.
I told you guys earlier before we got on the air here about my father, rest his soul. When Mike hit that first jumper from the point out there, and my father nudged me in the ribs and said, we're going to be all right, because everybody was scared. We thought that Harrison had a chance to take care of us.
I guess we were underdogs, and we didn't know it. But
if y'all remember, we were talking about the fans a while ago. 67 out here looked like a funeral procession with people from Newport. I'm talking about back and forth because, we came back. Well, we only spent one night down there. Spent one night down there, and the rest of the time we came back and forth.
Blocked the door.
Yeah.
Don Ray and I were going out on town, and he put his bed up in front of the door at 6:30.
He moved his bed up against the door so nobody could get by.
6:30 at night.
I wouldn't stay in a room with him because I knew I was going out.
He was trying to keep Duncan from going out.
Well, of course, it was a state championship year, and 67-49, the final in that one. And there we are, and we won the state championship. And I'm a kid. I'm a 9th grader, and it is probably one of the great moments in my life, being a 9th grade kid and your high school team winning the state championship, and never seen anything like it. Of course, we won a couple of football championships since then, but never another basketball title. Butch had a real good ball club in 69-70 here that went to the Final Four and gave Cersei fits before succumbing to them. Won a lot of awards, and everybody was honored and decorated. But does people still talk to you, especially you 4 guys here in town now? People still talk to you all the time about this year and about this team?
Really?
People come up and they talk about it. They say they've got a scrapbook of back in '65. It's amazing how the people still remember the games, talking about it.
We had a fellow last night. We went over to Truman to watch our ball game last night, and a fellow that had lived here during those days and now lives in Truman, he came over and introduced himself and says, "I remember you, and I remembered Paul and Billy and the '65 season," and it happens all the time.
Bill Osier, how'd you learn to shoot that ball from a corner?
That's probably the only place I could shoot it from until the finals.
The rest of them told him to go. You over and stand the corner.
We had to have someone to pass it to someone else besides Donald Ray, but that just happened to be where I played. I played in that position, and I took advantage of it. But I tell you, to be honest with you, I was probably the worst shooter on that team. If you had a game of horse and you shot from outside, and that lets you know the balance we had on that team. Everybody, Bill Holt right now could shoot behind the three-point line and do a good job of it. And I think that's the one thing. We had 5 guys that could score.
Yeah, Donald.
We had 3-point basket.
Oh my goodness.
Mike and I talked about that.
Mike would have averaged about 50 points a ball game.
Yeah, probably at least.
Yeah, he could shoot the ball, Donald Ray. You could shoot it when called upon. Well, no, but now, had some nights. And I remember Paul I remember Paul taking the basketball and driving the basket. You know, that's what I remember sticks out, watching Massey drive the basket.
That layup that he stole the ball we was talking about a while ago, I just tickled to death he didn't go in there and reverse it, you know, by himself. And I figured it entered his mind, because that's how he shot.
Coach Steve taught us to, you know, don't shoot a regular layup, twist or turn.
They saw me come across half court and I had the ball, they'd get in rebound position. I wasn't scared to put it up.
See, when I was in high school, my high school coach was Preacher Rowe that pitched for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And so, and George Kell was the referee for those games. I did not get to play basketball until I was in 11th grade. And so, therefore, I didn't have a good outside shot. And when I played it for Arkansas College, I learned to drive and learned all those shots. So that's why I taught it to Paul. I taught him those shots, and Osier to a certain extent.
Two things I want to know the real truth here. First off, did we come back that Saturday morning after the semifinals and work out and practice?
Yeah, against the press.
Worked against the press and worked against not letting the point guard
I
pitch the
think
ball
we
off.
hadn't done that. We might have been, because that worked. I couldn't believe that worked so good.
You set Bill Holt up the top and pass. Yeah. He caught it. And these guys would zoom by, and boy, they went down. We'd have them 2-on-1 and 3-on-2.
I was always behind, though. They used to time me by the sun.
But he was our defensive man. If they got past us, he had to stop. He was back man.
He was back in case they got stolen or something. We had a guy back there.
No, we still use that attack on the press in '65. I mean, in '69 and '70, when I was after burning stuff, we still use that same thing and had some rules. You know, that's why people would go against Harrison's press. They didn't have a plan. I mean, they'd go out there and just say, "Well, we're going to get the ball down," like what they were.
Just try to get it over half.
Yeah, their goal was to get it down and try to dribble it, and then we had a plan of attack, and it worked. We don't want it planned against their press. I think.
And y'all refresh my memory here, maybe Bill Osier, but I thought ball game basically was over early. And we not get a bit,
That's the easiest ball game we had to
Well, she almost fouled, or he did foul out.
I remember I stole the ball pretty close to the end of the game and fed Bill, and he dunked it, and his first time anyone had dunked it in the game.
They only stole the ball one time from us. They trapped you once.
Used to dunk it back then like they do now.
They stole the ball one time in that press.
Somebody, Bill or Mike or somebody, hit a long jumper and put us up by a bunch in the second half. This is, as a kid, how things etch in your mind. And I remember us sprinting down the floor, boom, getting in the zone, hands held high, and I'll never forget that image, because, boy, you knew we have won the state championship. We had 7 or 8 minutes to go, almost all the fourth quarter, but you knew right then. And there's, you say, over 7,000 fans, and they're screaming and doing cartwheels, and that. Do we have any old films? Anybody got any old films?
I don't know if we did. I don't think we even filmed games back then. That was before electricity, wasn't it? We didn't have video recorders or anything.
We got a film, but we didn't play very well in it.
Oh, okay.
What was that? Of course, we actually could have only lost one ball game, because the reason that I think Mariana beat us, because they all wanted a vacation. They didn't want to be in that NCAA tournament play during the Christmas holiday.
They just got hot. They had free throws.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, my goodness. All right, what else we want to talk about? We've rehashed some of the big ball games. What was in the final game? Let me ask everybody when you felt it was over, and that feeling, that when you look up there and you see the scoreboard and we're ahead 15, 17, 18 points, whatever, against Harrison, you're sitting there thinking there's 7,000 people, most of them from Newport, I think, yelling and screaming. What did it feel like, Paul Massey?
Oh, I tell you, just like I said, when old Mike come down there and hit those, I thought, well, man, this is not going to be as tough a game as I thought. And Osier played a great game that game. I didn't play that good. I did pass and I didn't score that much, but Osier played a good game. Mike played a good game. I mean, just all of us played a solid game,
Bill, you're a 17, 18-year-old kid, and you're out there at Barton Coliseum, and you look up and we're ahead of the Harrison Goblins, and we're fixing to win a state championship. What do you think?
Well, actually, believe it or not, it crossed my mind that this is kind of what we'd work for. I don't know if that's thinking like a coach or what, but when we did go up by about 18, I obviously knew we had done it. And then I think it hit me right then that we'd won it. But the thing I remember about that, too, that when we won that thing, we didn't do a lot of individual celebrating among ourselves. We were more of I don't know if you call it laid back, but businesslike about it, and the crowd did that for us, and that's the thing that I always appreciated, that the fact that we didn't have to be our own cheerleaders. You know, the fans and the cheerleaders and all that really helped, but it was an exhilarating feeling. It really was.
Okay. Well, we got there. Yes, that's in the 1965 Newport High School annual, I believe, right? Okay. Yeah, of the team shot. David, can you come in there just a little bit? A lot of you that have those annuals have seen that picture. We were identifying some of the other guys earlier that aren't with us, and I want to give some credit to Freddie Sweat, who was really our sixth man on the team. Ronnie Stites played some. Yeah. Freddie, I mentioned before we started taking some of the guys, several games, maybe we were a little sluggish against our. Freddie'd come in, had a real good knack of passing the basketball. He could get the ball in places we need to put the basketball, and I certainly want to salute Freddie because he was an integral part of this basketball team too. And as we said, Ronnie played quite a bit also. But really, you five guys doing 99% of the bulk of the work along with Freddie and Ronnie. Championship we're talking about. Bill Holt, what'd you feel like? You said earlier you knew it was over when it was finally over, but when in that fourth quarter or third quarter or whenever did you think, look at us, and how did you feel?
Well, I was elated, but why wouldn't you be? But I agree with Ozier. I think the best feeling is that all these people are supporting us. All these people are behind us, and I'm not sure that I can describe that, and I think it's still the same way. I believe that we have some of the greatest fans here in Newport that you can find anywhere, and I say that because since that time I've been in a lot of different places, and my boys have played sports in a lot of other schools, and fortunately my Dean got to come back and play some last year for Newport and playing this year for Newport. And of all the schools that my boys had played in, still Newport's fans are by far the best fans I've seen in any other place I've been in. And that's true today, and that was true then as well. And I think that was the best thing, is to realize that all these folks around here, they've really helped us, and they've really encouraged us, and they're really for us, and it was just a great feeling.
Donald Ray and Mike, fourth quarter, late in the game, we're going to win it. When did you know it? How'd you feel?
I was on the bench then. I think I fouled out.
He sat on the bench.
I think I fouled out in the third quarter, but I do remember when we were playing that looking at just the looks on the Harrison players' face, they were stunned. They could not understand how we were doing what we were doing. And I think at that point I'd realized that we were going to win this ball game and win the state championship.
Mike?
Well, I knew we had it won before the game even started.
I did too.
We came in.
I did too.
We came in after we warmed up, and we were just us five in there, and Coach Duncan come in there, and they sent all these telegrams, and we knew the whole town was down there, and we were so fired up and high. I just knew there was no way they was going to beat us.
Butch Duncan, you really knew. You knew the plan would work. We go out and execute it. We were going to beat them.
The semifinal ball game, I thought we were going to be the state champions. But when I actually knew it is when we went out there and we broke that press early, and like Donald Ray said, the look on their faces, they were beat. They were beat 3 minutes into the ball game. I mean,
yeah, because they had destroyed everybody, and and they might go, as you say, a quarter and be trailing Paragould 16-5. Those kids had confidence when they put that heat on.
They caught them by halftime. They caught Paragould, and they held worse than the 9 points.
So they thought they were going to win. They thought they were going to do the same things to us, and when we discouraged them, and then Butch, they had no answer.
We're really a better basketball team than Harrison was. And I knew that, and that's something that it built during the year. I'm talking about, these 4 guys didn't play football. Mike did, but they were out there, and they had worked their entire careers for this one moment.
Ever since we were in the 7th grade, we played together.
Something else I was going to say. A lot of people remember that you guys, let's say, Mike, you're the underclassman, right? You're the 11th grader, right? Okay, but you guys spent a lot of time practicing together on your own, playing a lot of basketball together. Everybody talked about the
summer camp.
Right.
So I guess it takes that. I guess that.
I remember when Bill Holt couldn't even get up the floor. His 10th, he had trouble getting up the floor.
People used to say to me, they said, I don't know now, Bill Holt, when he was in 10th grade, I don't know, you think he's going to make it? And I'd say, look at him. He's going to be, he's a little gawky right now. It sure is. But I said, you just wait. I said, we're going to work. He's going to be good. And after he graduated, a guy, pretty important guy in the administration came around and said, Coach Duke, I'm glad you stuck to your beliefs on Bill Holt, because that he sure proved to be what you thought he was going to be.
Major college offers from all over, didn't you, Bill?
I have a few.
It had to be a blessing for all you little guys to be playing with the big guy. I mean, in 1965, 6'5" guy's pretty good sized fellow.
It's nice to come down to the top of the key and you look up there and you can see that head sticking above everybody else.
Didn't he have that flat top and he wore that butch wax? Just flat, gave him another inch.
I want to go back to you guys, you four guys that were seniors, your junior year. I'm trying to remember what kind of, I know we had a pretty decent basketball team. Didn't we get upset by Stuttgart or something, district tournament, play terrible?
Wait, that was my fault because, I mean, I'm usually frank. If we can beat a team, I don't go in there and say, hey, these guys are going to beat us. Well, hey, we were a decent team. We won probably 13-11, but we beat. We were playing Paragould, okay? We played Stuttgart, and they were like, I think they were 1-18, and I'm thinking,
they were 0-18.
From losing to an 0-18 bunch to the state championship.
They have a guy named Peacock that played for Arkansas, who later was great. But I honestly thought we'd beat them easily, and we were lackadaisical, and they beat us. And we were edifiers. We made them feel good. But they needed to win one during the year. But it's a wonder I was able to keep my job. So that.
I think they fire basketball coaches in it.
Well, that's right. Important. Right. That's right. So anyway, you're right, and that.
I remember that as a stunning upset, and because I always thought about, boy, a team that loses in the district tournament to an 0-18 bunch, and four of those guys, and they had a sophomore who's a junior the next year, Mike Allen, go on and win the state championship. That's probably as bad an upset as we've ever been involved in that junior year.
That could have been a motivating factor for the next year too. That stayed in the back of our minds a little bit. And I think it was in the back of our minds when we played Batesville, the first game of that tournament the next year. Because I know we kind of talked through that tournament that we were going to do the things we had control over. We were going to get every loose ball. We were going to get every rebound. Things that you didn't have to have skill to do, but you had. And we kind of talked about that, and those are the things that got us beat against Stuttgart. So
something else, too. When we got down in the newspapers and everything in Little Rock, see, these other teams were accustomed to going. You had like these teams from Northwest Arkansas and Paragould, Leachville, and all these schools that were accustomed to going. Hey, Newport was a new city. I mean, when had it been since Newport had been the state tournament? And for us to win it, that was what, for the whole state, Newport, Arkansas, that's a football school, isn't it? And so when we won it, it was even more amazing because of that reason.
And in junior high, you can look this one up in your book too. We beat Paragould another time, and I got the winning layup. Butch Duncan remembers it.
Certainly did. We didn't win many.
Yeah, I think we won 2 or 3. I want to mention, as you're watching this on Cable 15, we have several folks from the community who've dropped in here at Nanny's, come by to see the guys and visiting. We're airing our program Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock after church. And if you're watching that, if you've missed part of the program, Tuesday night at 6. And then again, Friday morning, the Friday after Thanksgiving at 7:30 as part of our breakfast bunch. So you got a lot of opportunities to see this program. I know a lot of you may have joined in the middle of the program. It's just a reunion get-together we want to do on television here of the 1965 state championship basketball team from Newport, Arkansas. We're at Nanny's Bakery. The McKees, very gracious. Charlie's been wanting to do this for a long time, especially since we started our television here a year and a half ago. And it is a great opportunity to get everybody together and visit, and our pleasure to do that. Now, Let's update what everybody's doing right now. Even you folks that live in Newport, maybe haven't been here a long time. Paul, you're in Tulsa, and
got 3 daughters. One's graduated from college. One that plays basketball. She's a 9th grader and 6 foot, but she can't move like the old man could. But I'm working on it. But they live pretty close to Coach Duke. I play a little tennis with him every once in a while and stuff. He's still tough. Still tough.
All right. Bill Ozier, great career as a head basketball coach at Newport High School and still involved with the school.
Yeah, I was teaching 6 civics classes a day and coaching 7th grade girls. And my family got a daughter that's still in school here that plays on the girls team. She's a junior, and got 2 sons that live up at Fayetteville. And this, I think, is my 22nd year here at Newport, so I sort of hadn't left.
A pretty good litany of conference championships also, and our congratulations, because you coached some very good basketball teams here.
Thank you. I had some real good players during my tenure in coaching here, and that, you know, I can kind of identify with Coach Duke a little bit. I'm the only one of the bunch that can know how Coach Duke and Coach Duncan actually felt, you know, during those times. And I can imagine how exhilarated they were, too, as coaches, that would have taken place. So we surely appreciate those 2 guys very much.
Okay. Coach Duke, and you left after the championship season.
Yes, and that wasn't the reason I left, actually.
Was it Duncan?
No, I really, it's a privilege to be here and work with these young people, and I've been gone now 31 years, and I still look back on it as a great time in my life. And but I have had the privilege of being a coach at Oral Roberts University. In fact, basketball team play. Oh man, I saw where Arkansas beat Jackson Port 120.
Jackson State 50 points. Yeah.
I mean, we play them next Thursday night. Last year they only beat us 1 point, but I'm dreading it this year. But I've had 125 players from 25 countries, and I've coached tennis out there and worked with the people. I got Teacher of the Year a couple of years ago, and I told them they thought I retired 2 years ago, but I only meant they didn't have to pay me because I could draw my retirement. And I have an assistant, and I still teach 2 days a week, and I'm the head coach and travel to Air Force and places like that. And it's just been a pleasure.
Well, our pleasure to have you back here today. I know you've had this bunch has had class reunions. You've been in town before, but again, our pleasure for you to sit down with us and spend your valuable time. Glad to have you make the trip.
Yeah, and let me say this. My wife taught this guy and said he was one of the brightest she had. She remembers him in the 5th grade, and he was a neat little kid then. I don't know.
I'm a neat big kid now.
I've heard good things about him now, but she said I knew he was going to turn out because when he was in the 5th grade, he was great. And she said, that's just what she said.
I appreciate that. Raymond Duncan, you have had, in all seriousness, and I know you want to joke and kid about it, but a very impressive coaching career all the way up to the college level. Got started right here with me as one of your youngins in the 9th grade when you became the head football coach at Newport Junior High School, and I was on one of your first ball clubs. By the way, we beat Batesville that year, too. We certainly did. And tell us about your travels, because you worked with Bill Keedy some and at Arkansas State some in the insurance business and have become one of the best in the field.
Well, first of all, I didn't realize. I knew that Burness was always Massey's idol, but I didn't know Paul would have 3 girls. Just because Burness did.
Didn't get 1 boy.
We got 3 girls, too.
I know. But anyhow, yeah, I got started here. It's my first coaching job. I lived in Batesville, and the only time I'd ever been down here was either to visit some friends of mine or Thanksgiving football game and basketball season. But this is, a lot of times people say, where are you from? And I'll say, if I'm in Batesville, I'll say Batesville. A lot of times I'll tell people I'm from Newport, because I was just, as you said, I was just a neat kid when I came here, too.
He was still in the larva stage. Yeah, look at that.
But anyhow, that was 65 was a highlight. You know, I enjoyed the 7 years that I lived here and coached, and I'm one of the fortunate people. I've only done 2 things in my life, and that was coaching in the insurance business, so I've never had a real job. I mean, I enjoy going to work. I enjoyed coaching until I got ready to give it up. I have 2 sons that are grown. Blake is the oldest one, who was born in '64. Right over there was as an agency manager with Farm Bureau.
And you came off the practice field that afternoon. We were practicing.
Yes. Yeah, though we were practicing, and I did come down here and was there for the delivery from the practice field, which I was always glad I was, because I heard about it. I wasn't there during a lot of the pain. So anyhow, but he's very successful in his own right. Now I have a granddaughter that I can see how these little girls, because I had 2 sons, but the granddaughter has just got me wrapped around her little finger. But my youngest son is in the car business. He works for Truman Baker Ford in Batesville. He went to college. He was in racehorsing business for a while, and finally found something he really enjoys doing. And they're both successful young men, and a lot better than I deserve.
And you're the agency manager, Farm Bureau, Independence County, after starting with that organization down in Stuttgart, I believe.
Yes, I started. That's where I ended my coaching career, was at Stuttgart. I went from here to Texarkana to Magnet Cove, and Bill and I coached at Paragould together, and then I went from, when he went to Sylvan Hills, I went to Stuttgart, and I stayed in it 1 more year. So I've been in the insurance business for 20 years. And but the 65 bunch is always special. People talk to me about this all the time. They know I was involved with it, and it was a highlight, because I love Newport. I mean, it was good to me. I love the people, and I wouldn't take anything for that experience in my life.
Absolutely. Mike Allen, you and your late father, D.T. Allen, involved in masonry and brick business. Mike likes to play golf. Has had some health problems that limit him sometimes from being as good as he could be. But you've been able to stay here in Newport, Arkansas.
Yeah, my mom and dad moved here in 1946 from World War II, and I've got 3 kids. My oldest is 25, and he's working with me now since we're still running the business my dad started. My daughter's going to graduate from the University of Arkansas this year, and I've got another boy that's a freshman this year at the University of Arkansas, and he may be like me and Donald Ray. He might be on an 8 or 10 year program. I don't know, but he may be there a while. But
yeah, I'm still trying to pay my loan back.
I bet he's got the social skills down.
Yeah. Donald Ray Smotherman, longtime State Farm insurance agent, very, very successful, stayed in Newport, Arkansas.
Yes, this is my home, and I went to ASU when I got out of high school. When I finished there, I came back here and went to work. Jack Owens felt sorry for me and gave me a job at the bank. And then I got in insurance business in '75 and have been with them ever since. I have 1 son who will be, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, will be finishing in December over at ASU. And he's wanting to get in the insurance business also. But this, in '65, was probably one of the highlights of my life. It was something that every month or every week somebody says something about that basketball team. And I was just glad to be a part of it.
And Bill Holt, Bill, you have been able to come back to Newport, Arkansas after having been around the country. And Bill's a minister at the Holden Avenue Church of Christ. And I know it's important for you. And I know you feel it's important for young people like Dean. And you talked about the great fans here. But it is a thrill for all of us to now have you back in Newport.
Well, thank you. It's good for me to be back. I tell the people at the church often that I've been all over the world, and a couple of times, I guess, because I was in the service for about 24 years, and I realized that about the best people in the world are right here. And so I'm real happy to come back, and I'm real happy that my son is back and in Newport High School, and they've got good coaches now, they've got good teachers now, they've got a good school system now, and that's just a thrill for me to be back and enjoying Newport again. And I have 4 children actually. The Dean, who is our youngest, is a senior this year in Newport High School, and I've got an older girl that's she's the oldest, and she's in San Diego, And then I've got one boy that's in the Marine Corps right now, and then I've got another son who's in Harding College down the road, or Harding University down the road. And it's my wife and I just really appreciate being here, and we really enjoy the folks, and it's just a big lift to be back with people that care about you. People around here care about you. You've got the junior high coach and the senior high coach that are here now with us today as well. So
yeah, Coach Wallace, Coach McKee have come in. I see some old cheerleaders like Cynthia Keedy Smotherman that have come in to visit. I didn't mean old cheerleaders, former cheerleaders, right? Yes.
I have a personal message for Bill's dad. Bill's dad loaned me a putter in 1963 when I started playing golf, and I still use it. It's the only putter. You know how a lot of people change putters like they change wives or, you know, stuff like that, but I don't. I play the same one, so I was down there playing in a tournament too.
But you have changed wives.
I just wish I hadn't said that. But I do think I got custody of my scrapbook. But I saw Mr. Holt, and I said, Mr. Holt, I still have that putter you loaned me in 1963. And he said, you still using it? I said, yes, sir. I was going to give it back to him. You know?
Oh, guys, it has been a ball being here. We want to thank Coach Duke and Paul especially for coming in, making the trip from Tulsa. Right, and again, we're going to show this if you're watching Sunday afternoon. Our program started at 1 o'clock after church. Tuesday night at 6, and then this coming Friday morning at 7:30 is part of our live show many of you watch called The Breakfast Bunch each Friday morning, 7:30 until the conclusion. Guys, it has been a ball, and I hope you've enjoyed sitting around. And I know y'all have done this some before at reunions, but it's the first time for our fans and the people of Newport to hear you guys talk about
It's
it.
kind of sad I didn't get to see Mr. Mullins and Mr. Wiggins. Both of them passed away.
Right. Time flies and we're all getting older, but be thankful for every day and all of the great memories, and pleased that everybody is doing so well. And it's nice to know that people still think about you and those great memories. And, you know, as an athlete, even a high school athlete, the things that you do and represent yourself with your character, you know, wins and losses are great, but your accomplishment. And as a younger kid, and I think about the kids younger than me, looked up to you guys. You know, it's like you mentioned, Coach, the movie Hoosiers. You know, heroes for all the right reasons, and we thank you for that.
Character sums up. When one word sums up this team, the '65 team had character. Had a couple of characters. The bunch did have character. And that was what character.
I want to say one more thing. All right. This fellow right here has had a significant impact on everybody's life around this table, I'm sure, and probably in this room, because he really was a good example for us. And this fellow right here had a significant impact on us too. Not so always the best example, but but we love him nonetheless. But
I guess when you're a preacher, you just got to call him like they are.
But really, you know, it wasn't. I think it wasn't just winning those ball games, but I think that they taught us a whole lot about life as well. And when I talk about Newport and when I talk about the coaches that we have today as well, I think we've got some good coaches in that school today that are very good moral people, and they uphold the important things of life, and I want to tell them that I appreciate that too. Stan McKee and Jim Wallace, who are coaching basketball this year, you know, I think that they're two just like these two as well, that they uphold the things that we need to set the example for the young people.
Butch, I'm going to ask you to talk just a second about Coach Duke, his athletic ability as an athlete, because a lot of people don't realize that. Even some that were here in '65 do not realize what a great basketball player and boxer and athlete this man is.
He was and is an exceptional athlete, I'm sure. Paul says he still plays tennis, and he's the only person I ever see hit a tennis ball and make it flatten out. And that's the truth. I watched him during his career. I'm a few years younger than Coach Duke is, and I watched him at Arkansas College. And he came to Arkansas College from Hardy, and like I said, he didn't play basketball. He was in the 11th grade, and and we played basketball together. We played more independent games, you know. We'd get in that old green station wagon and go play. But Burness I don't remember what year he was in school up there, played a basketball game, and I think he scored 17 points, got about 12 or 13 rebounds, and then went to they got him in the car and took him to Little Rock, and he knocked out Billy Ray Smith.
No, I've just beat him in a decision.
You knocked him out?
And then I called Billy Ray. They had a big article in the paper.
I've been telling people that for years.
Well, there's a big article in the paper about his son, Billy Ray, and I didn't know where Billy Ray was, and I called him and plain old time. I said, Billy Ray, there's a big article about your son. Can you give me your address? Send it. He said, who's this I'm talking to? I said, well, I didn't want him to know. I said, well, Billy Ray, it doesn't really matter. I only met you for about, at most, 30 minutes. And he said
30 seconds in the first round.
No, actually, people don't know it, but I fought Billy Ray twice.
Oh.
And he said, come on, give me a chance. I said, well, my name's Burness Duke. Burness Duke, he said. He said, how could I forget you? That's the only fight I lost in Arkansas.
Well, that was on the same day, Butch. Played the basketball game.
Basketball game and went down there and he pulled off his basketball jersey and fought and left his just fought him in tennis shoes, and we went to the nationals or whatever it was. I don't know what he went to. He got decisioned in there because he let this guy up after he knocked his mouthpiece out. That's how the story goes.
Billy,
you know, get back up.
Billy actually won the regional Kansas City.
Yeah.
He won the whole thing because I actually didn't go there because we went to Denver. We won the state AAU in basketball, and I went to Denver.
Right.
And so I didn't get to go to that particular one.
The AAU team, Carter?
Well, Carter Buick, and then Arkansas College too. Yeah, I played for Carter Buick about 6 years, and so yeah, we won the AAU.
Burness would say, come on, he liked to play with me because I'd pass the ball. I'd like Don Ray.
That's right.
You know, I couldn't shoot very well, so I'd worked on my passing all the time while I played basketball. But we'd play some of those guys like Jimmy Culp, some of them, and Burness would say, "Culp, throw me the ball." He said, "Let me shoot one." He said, "Okay, rebound this one."
Yeah.
You know? One rebound, and he could score under the basket.
Yeah.
I've got a story about Coach Duncan's.
This may be good here.
This goes back to Arkansas College, or Lyon College, where he was manager for the legendary coach R.C. Winningham. He is the only undefeated basketball coach in Lyon College history. Coach in the AIC.
We're all still here. We just got a bad belt on the machine back there.
Coach Winningham got the flu one night and couldn't make the trip. I believe it was to Southern State, wasn't it? Magnolia, Arkansas. Coach Duncan, his senior year, was the manager of that team and also helped Coach Winningham out. He lets Coach Duncan take the team to Southern Arkansas University, which it is right now, and they go down there and they beat the Mule Riders. At home. Wow. And he was the manager of the basketball team, so he could coach before he got to Newport High School.
I was a freshman in
college.
college.
I would have loved to have been on the bus on the return trip.
You got to realize that his father was on the state championship team of Arkansas that won the state in 1939.
Right.
I got a lot of stories I could tell about Coach Duncan, but I can't talk about it on TV.
I've got a few myself.
We had a guy on that Arkansas College team. He was like Mike Allen. You know, his right arm's about that much longer than his left one from shooting, and he got hot that night, and he was throwing them in from everywhere.
Who was
that? Bertie Rogers.
Oh, Bertie Rogers.
Yeah, Bertie Rogers scored about 40 that night. Yeah. And Coach Winningham had a rule. He wouldn't go, he wouldn't go in to get out of his zone defense till he was behind or, so he had certain rules and everything. I saw Southern State was going to kill us in that zone, so I changed the middle of the first quarter, started pressing, went to man. He said, man, the first thing he said to me, he didn't say congratulations or anything. He walked in the next day and he said, boy, if I could have got to you by the phone, I'd have had your line. I said, Coach, we won.
So you retired undefeated.
But I've been lucky. I mean, Coach Winningham knew I was going to be a coach. I knew from the time I was 9 years old, that's what I wanted to be.
True.
So Winningham came to me and he recruited me as a manager and student assistant. He came to and he said, there's nobody buying nose guards that weigh 150 pounds and run 119 flat, don't you? I said, yes, sir. And he said, you don't shoot well enough to play in college, talking about basketball. And I said, yes, sir. I thought, well, what's he doing? So he said, I know you're going to coach. And the only question I asked him, I said, yes, I'll tell you, they pay my way to school, everything except your books. which was a good deal back then because AIC just had half scholarships at that time. And Winningham said, I said, well, will you let me coach? And he said, son, I have to. I don't have any help. so I was actually had spent 4 years when I started here working with him.
Great.
And you know, so I had an advantage over a lot of those young guys that were just starting out because I'd been on that bench for 4 years, and so it was really an advantage. And then Burness is how I got here. Don Horton was the head coach and athletic director, and he was trying to hire an assistant coach to work with high school and junior high, and Burness wanted to get somebody that had some basketball experience, and so he came up. You remember we met over at Coach Winningham's house, and he recruited me, and I came down here my senior year and not in practice teach. I substitute taught down here for 2 or 3 days that spring, and it was really and I liked it then, but Burness is the reason I got in the coaching business.
Let me tell you my one good Butch Duncan story. As we start the fall season in '64, right? Okay, you're head football coach junior high, and I'm on that team, and Butch is his first coaching job, really. I mean, that level, wanting to really impress us. So he was a hard worker, to say the least. And a lot of the ninth graders paid the price. There were times, and this is a story a lot of guys my age will remember because it was true. We lost a football game one time, and we went out after practice, had a nice 2.5 hour practice. It started at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. About 6 o'clock, after we been out there 3 hours, started to get a little hazy and a little dark. So we got ready to run wind sprints. We started running about 6. About 7:30, we were still running wind sprints, and it got dark. And Butch asked all the folks that were there watching practice to pull their cars up around track field and turn on the lights so we could run some more. I'm telling you what. Now, you remember it and tell them it's the truth.
That is the truth. They did do that, and that was
I didn't like you.
No, I don't. Let me tell you what. Looking back, I don't see how anybody did. All I knew was hard work, and I was practicing on y'all.
Everybody loved you, but
I appreciate y'all letting me learn how to coach.
One guy that we should give credit for too was Don Hyman. He had these guys in 7th and 8th grade, and Don lived sports, and he got all intense. Of course, I saved him one time on a trip. Guess what?
Can't tell that story.
That was not arable.
No, nothing wrong with it. It was something else. But it was just when I drove his bus for him one afternoon, and someone was wanting to pick on him. They thought it was me that was him, and they said, "Get out, buddy." And I got out, and he'd made their kid walk home. And this guy says, "I thought you said he was a little fella." And he says, my son says he was. Then I realized that they weren't after me. So I said, well, yeah, I'm just a substitute today. And so the guy says, okay. But I said, don't bother, Don. Well. But anyway, Don did a good job with these young kids when they were like in the 7th, 8th grade. He worked them and got some good, some good basics for them.
All right.
Paul Massey summed that up real good. He made a statement the other day. He said that Don Heineman taught us the fundamentals of the game in junior high, and Burness Duke taught us how to play. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And with that, it seemed like even the coaching staff fit in the mix that we were going to win that tournament. And I thought that was a real good way of stating that.
Well, it was a marvelous year, and I know a great year, and everybody said, oh, that's the old days, but the old days are worth talking about, and they're worth remembering because it was a tremendous accomplishment. To my knowledge, no team before or no team since Newport High School history has ever won a basketball state championship. But your bunch came close in 69-70.
Yeah, well, I had a good bunch of athletes that year. They were fun to coach, and it was, we had a good mix on that team too, and basically we had a young 10th grader in Donaldson, and we had Mr. Hogan's nephew, and just had some good, had Jim Reed Holden, we had Kearney Blaylock, we had Bobby Forster, who was he was like Donald Ray, and we had the shooters and had some rebounders, had a couple of big boys. Clay Wright played, and it was a good mix. And it was a fun bunch, but this. We couldn't get it accomplished like this bunch did. We ran into Cersei, and we had them walking on eggs, but we couldn't beat them.
That was a heck of a basketball team, and then, of course, Coach Ozier has, as I said, won several conference championships here, and we've had some quality ball clubs during his reign. You got to be. We've always talked. Bill Keaty's talked about this many times. You have to be good. you have to be injury-free, and you have to be a little lucky along the way to win it.
Right.
And when you put that all together and you've got a quality ball club, almost anything can happen.
Right. See, Bruce, I didn't have to worry. I didn't know that you knew we were going to win the state. I was actually worried up till the last quarter.
I was actually worried during that semifinal game.
Get us to the finals.
I scared to death
my
of the baseball
goodness.
game.
Yeah, that was one that we really had a chance to lose because, and there we were. That's how close.
That's my lucky coat.
Look at him.
Let's see if we can. David, we'll try to get as close to that as we can.
That was in the state tournament.
I tried to tell. Yeah, I was trying to tell.
All right, David will he'll have to focus a little bit on this picture, so y'all bear with us here.
Yeah, I wore that jacket to that first game, and just said I'd bring it home, and whoever had the cleaners here would clean it for me. And I'd wear it the next day. So, these people that saw every game thought, man, that guy, he didn't have but one jacket, and that may have been true.
David, stay in here close with us on the camera. We'll look at some other pictures.
Sent there by Coach Duke.
Yeah, here's a picture of Bill Holt on the bench with Coach Duke.
Here's afterwards.
All right, he's all right. Got a pretty good shot there.
Hare, Mr. Keaty, Michael Hare, the barber's daughter. That was
That's some of the folks.
Barbara Vest.
Is this after the game?
That's after the game.
That's after the game.
After the state championship
Mr.
game.
Keaty there. He's on the
Upper right-hand corner of your picture.
Yeah, in the upper right-hand corner is where Mr. Keaty is standing there. Hey, a bunch of happy people right there, weren't they?
Oh, I'm gonna look at that one. Yes, sir.
That was fun.
And you know what? They took up money for us and said, you can go on a trip, and we went to New Orleans, and it was really nice. But I'm not so organized as I should be, and I didn't have a place to meet in New Orleans. We were all driving cars, and apparently Bill almost ran out of gas and stopped. He and Paul and them got lost, and we didn't find them again until we got to New Orleans. We saw them driving up and down the street.
They really left us is what they did, and he thought I was trying to get away from him, but they ran off and left us. That's what they did.
That was my first airplane ride because Bill went across that bridge, I think, about 100 miles an hour. First airplane ride.
That's where we caught you, was on the bridge. I was stopped talking.
There's Ransom Smith's daughter.
Yeah, we're looking at a picture here of Mary Smith, one of the cheerleaders.
Ransom Smith's daughter, Mary.
As we said, Cynthia's here with us. Come over here and wave. So come over here and scoot on over here. Get over here by your better half if you want to. And and get a shot. Cynthia's one of those cheerleaders, and look at there. Looks like articles out of the Newport Independent. We're number one. Hounds win 67-49. Cheerleaders got to go on the trip.
Cheerleaders going.
Cheerleaders used to have to help the boosters to get out and make the money.
and I was just looking. I'd forgotten that Coach Counts went, but they said he was the chaperone.
Yeah, he was a heck of a chaperone.
Yeah, I've been with Coach Counts, rest his soul, as a chaperone a couple of times. Some of those football trips. What else?
Here's Mr. Mike's dad we must have had a real Greyhound.
Yes, and down through the years.
Yeah.
Nicky the Greyhound, and Coach Duncan's looking through some of the ball game stats.
Well, Treadway wasn't a very good scorer.
Larry Treadway, who my classmate and in the Batesville coaching system, school system for a long, long time. Guys, we have had a ball. I appreciate everybody being here. Let me remind the fans one more time, Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock we started this program, and we'll air it again Tuesday night at 6. Then this coming Friday morning, the day after Thanksgiving, at 7:30 as part of our breakfast bunch. This is the 1965 Newport Greyhound State Basketball Championship team. And again, we thank the McKees here at Nanny's Bakery for Mr. Charlie coming up with the idea. He's been talking to me for a year now about getting everybody together and doing a TV interview show just like this. And if you've joined us in the middle of it here at the tail end, set your VCRs for those other times, Tuesday at 6 and Friday morning at 7:30. And we're going to see that all the guys here get a copy of this tape also.
Drive back and see it, Paul.
Okay, give you the guys' excuse to come back. Thanks for being here, fellas. We have enjoyed it. And again, congratulations on all the great thrills, and congratulations on what you guys have done as men in your community and as leaders, and as Butch Duncan said, showing great character on and off that basketball floor. Our pleasure to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, and we appreciate that. You're watching Newport Cable 15 on the Newport Cable Television System. I'm Bud Black.
Jackson's Funeral Home and the Jackson family have been serving our friends and neighbors in Jackson County during some of the most difficult times of their lives for nearly 60 years. We believe the highest standard of care is achieved when people are given the tools needed to make the most informed decision for the benefit of their family. For us, there's no greater honor than to care for our friends and our neighbors in their time of need. The Jackson's Funeral Homes, the 1900 block of Malcolm Avenue in Newport, phone number 870-523-5822.
George Kell Motors in Newport is not your typical new car dealership. Sure, we've got a great selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs, great prices, and an award-winning service department. But did you know that we can customize your vehicle to make it look exactly like you want it to look? Come see us. We got wheels, tires, lift kits, window tint, any and everything you want to personalize your vehicle to make it unique. Just come to George Kell Motors off of Highway 67, exit 85 in Newport. Let's get started on your ride.